Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to think about this word for a second. Resilience. What does that word mean? A lot of things may come to your mind. Somebody who's strong, forces through, keeps it moving forward. Resilience is important if you want to move your life forward, especially when it comes to your job, comes to your personal life, your family life. And sometimes you need a little help with that. And we've got somebody that can help you navigate that. She is an amazing life coach. She's a speaker. She's an author. She is Stacey Bulluck, and she joins us today. Hi, Stacey. How are you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. It's so good to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here too. And you offer a lot of help for people. And we're going to get into our topic today, which I'm going to tell everybody already now. It's self-awareness, being aware of yourself and how you can benefit, really knowing who you are. And before we get to the core of that, why don't you tell everybody, Stacey, some of the services that you offer, how you can help somebody as a life coach?
Sure. As a life coach, I like to think about it as an extension sometimes of therapy. A therapist is going to sit there with you, for your hour, whatever you're going to stay there for. But a life coach that comes from power and resilience is going to get in the fight with you. We are going to, if you need to improve on your exercise, we're going to exercise with you. If you need to have resources to find a way to improve your quality of life, meaning whether it's going to school. Now, we're not going to go to school with you. We're not going to hold your hand, but we will definitely give you some resources and some tools to help you either one with your study habits, because I remember when I was going to college, I'm a late college graduate, and oh my goodness, if I did not have somebody helping me and giving me instructions on, maybe you're not a person who reads and not just comprehend it, but grasp hold to it. So I found out that I was a person who actually had to write out my answers, and they stuck with me once they were written. But everybody's not like that. So power and resilience is going to find out who you are, tailor your treatment plan to specifically meet your needs as the individual that you are, the authentic you. If you are a person who you're an artist, and sometimes I'm an artist as well. I call myself a literary artist. I have a couple of books out here. And so we need different techniques. We need different tools. We need something different that's going to get us excited. And power and resilience will come in and ignite you in your area.
I love it. I truly do. And when it comes to a life coach versus a therapist, I really feel that the life coach has the accountability. They're holding you accountable for it. And I found many times, and there's a lot of great therapists out there in the world, but a lot of times it's a reset. Every time you're back into the session. So it's almost like starting at the beginning again. And then we got to work our way up. And now there's, 20 minutes left out of the hour. And now we're starting, finally got into something fresh, where with a life coach, it moves along way faster than it would with a therapist. And sometimes you need a therapist and a life coach. But a life coach, it's a whole different game in moving your life forward. Let's talk about that self-awareness, Stacey. How do we know who we are? How do we define that? I guess it maybe gets down to the core of your purpose, why you're here, what you should be offering. But what do I know? Tell me.
And you hit the nail, in my opinion, right on the head. When we find purpose in life, that ignites us. It gives us a reason to get up in the morning. There are a lot of people out there who go to their daily jobs and they're just, going about their way. But you hear the almost war stories of how they don't how they don't like it when they're there. They don't like what they're doing. But when we get to that place of self-awareness, it's like, you know what? I have to find what I like, what makes you tick, what makes Stacey tick. Stacey had to find that out as an 18-year Army veteran. I was going along about my military career. And one day I was in this vehicle accident. And then within a matter of moments, I found myself not being able to walk again. So it's like, what are you going to do with yourself after that? But now I walk fine because of resilience, because of knowing that I have purpose, coming to an understanding and believing that, because it took some time even to believe, especially after life throws its curveballs at you. Sometimes you're like, do I really have purpose? Why am I here? I feel like I just keep getting knocked down every step of the way. But I promise you, if you grasp hold to the person who you are. I wrote this poem called Who I Be. I know that may not be proper vernacular, but it goes through a series of who I was told that I was when I was a little girl, who I was told that I was when I was in middle school, high school, those kind of things. People tell us who we are every day. That doesn't mean that is who you are and that is your purpose and that's what you're supposed to be. We're not defined by our mistakes. We're not defined by our looks. We're not defined by our gender. We have to really tap into that inner person and say, who I be? Stand up for yourself too when you do.
Yeah. And you struck a chord with me just now, and I'm sure with everybody watching and listening, in that people used to tell me when I was a kid what I am. And that's not what I was. And that had a profound, I guess, a challenge in my life. And I've identified that in the last year or so to move myself forward. But yeah, I was bullied. That was part of it because people told me what I am. And it's like, and I never even thought of it that way.
Right. And you somehow you believed it. And the way we know what we believe, who we are, our demonstration, who we show up as. We begin to have behaviors that show up as, I'm this person. I'll take Stacey for an example. I'm the girl who's not going to get anywhere in life because you keep going down the wrong path and making bad decisions. That's not who I am. I'm not the bad decision maker. I just needed some tools and some guidance, some help to say, hey, you have a purpose. You are vital and you are necessary. So you don't have to follow that path that somebody else told you. And, we have to come to an understanding of what makes me extremely important to this world, because we all have something that makes us important to this world. It makes us important to somebody that we're going to meet along the way who's going to need us to be who we really are. Just think, if I had said, after that 18-year career and now they say I can't walk anymore and it hurts really bad and I'm just going to give up right here. But I didn't. I had to keep trudging through. I had to go back to college after 40 and face I almost felt like it was a trauma of sorts, Steve, the math.
You lost me already. Was always my worst subject. I have no interest in it. I have a small business and I'm in between bookkeepers and, I've had to do some myself. Oh, I just can't. You know what? Let me take that back. I'm not going to say I can't because I figured it out because I was resilient because I needed to. And that's that, and
yes,
I get what you're saying.
Yes.
Someday somebody's going to walk up and need you for what you are. I got it.
And we have to be that. We're all connected here for a reason.
Agreed.
We come across people's paths and we need to be able to do exactly what you said, figure it out.
Yep.
We have to be able to figure it out in marriage. We have to be able to figure it out in business. We have to be able to figure it out in parenting relationships. We have to be able to figure it out. And that's what I call it. It's a simple thing. Most people might want to make it so big in the world of functioning effectively on this journey. We just have to simply figure it out. And I'm telling you, power and resilience has helped some folks figure it out. And we're so excited about that, helping people to understand that you are essential. What is my signature? I went to the dentist the other day, and they immediately pointed out, the listeners can't see it, but the viewers will be able to see that I have what is called a diastema, which means that there's a separation between my top two teeth, just a space. But it has become a signature for me. And they
I was
asked me,
just
do
going
you
to
want us to?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. It is it is, and by the way, my hair hasn't changed in decades. It, of course, maybe 20 years ago it was bigger. People just know me from that. And it's not, I don't do it. It just does it by itself. The same thing. Look at Madonna. She has, the
Yes,
same that many actors do. That is your say.
yes.
So why
It's,
did the
it's,
dentist
it's,
even bring
it's
that up? Because they probably wanted to make money and fix your teeth. I don't know.
Well, it does have to do with finances and things like that. But they also, I was in the dental field for my military career, so it does have some things that could go on later in life that, it's not really a big deal. Everything shifts and moves. Hey, that just says that I'm still here. But
I love
like,
that.
no, you're not.
You're not going to
No, you're
change
not.
it, are you?
No, no,
Okay.
no, no,
All
no,
right.
no.
All right. Just
I
making sure.
just, nope, I am not going to change it. I said, this has become part of my signature. People look for me with different, something. My hair color, as you can see today, it's purple. A few years ago, it was bright red.
Hmm.
So I have these things that I like that are Stacey's signature. We all have to know, what is our signature? What gives you your strength? What is your automatic action to something? Like, some people, when they are upset or not feeling good, they cook. They just start baking or just making, food. Well, okay, guess what? That's probably something that will distinguish you from somebody else.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
and then that's when, we tap into this purpose thing, and we're like, okay, well, let's go hand it to the neighbors, see if they like it. And then all of a sudden you wind up find your niche in life and your purpose, and you're joyful about getting up in the morning going to do it. I probably wouldn't be joyful about getting up going to cook, but somebody
Same
else
here.
is.
Same here. And it doesn't mean that it has to be your job, your life path. It just could be one of those things that you're known for that people appreciate and you bring joy to others in doing that. So simple. So simple.
So simple, so
Yeah.
simple. We need to not make it so complicated. We do that too much. We make life skills and things, we make them complicated when,
Yeah.
yes, devastating things happen all the time. But when we are self aware of who we really are and what makes us tick and how we can use it to help us to bounce back quickly from the things that come our way, because nobody's immune. I don't care who you are. You are not immune to life issues.
Not
They're
at all.
coming.
I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. We're sort of talking about the same thing. And they said that they're very grounded, basic life they lead. They were talking to somebody who is a major multi-millionaire. And he was being very honest and it was a very candid conversation. I mean, this is a guy that's, his life insurance policy is, $16 million. It's, guess what? Everything is relative because he's worried about not having enough money. So we're
Mm.
looking at it this way. He's looking at it the same way, and has stress and has worries and all of that. That the money didn't take it away. In fact, he's still worrying about it because he doesn't
Mhm.
think, because everything is relative in his world. All of this money is his world, and if a little bit of it is gone, it sets him off. In a challenging direction. So we're not immune to it. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't at all. We just got instant feedback. This is from Kelly in San Antonio. And you can reach us anytime at instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. She says, I love what you guys are talking about. I have always lacked a lot of confidence in myself, and I feel that it's held me back in many ways in my life. Can you offer any suggestions to get above that? Lacking confidence.
Yes. Yes, that is, oh, Kelly, that was my world for a long time. I had to, first of all, start to love me when I actually realized that I am not the person who makes bad decisions all the time. I don't have to make those if I just stop and take the time and not go with what everybody else has told me. I had to make the decision, and what you have to make, Kelly, is this decision to say, I understand my strengths. I also understand my limitations, but I still love me. And I am going to commit to growing and developing who I am. And that's a daily process. It's not overnight. So don't beat yourself up when we make mistakes. Don't worry about it. Don't take it so seriously. Just understand that you are vital and that you are absolutely necessary to somebody in this world. I promise you, you are.
Yeah, we all are. And
We
sometimes
are.
we don't want to believe that. And a friend of mine told me that, and he's very insightful. He said, when you're at the lowest point in your life, you're the most humble. And that's where you pick up on everything. Like you see signs, you absorb things, you realize that things are happening for a reason. People are in your life for a reason, whatever it might be. But sometimes you need to come down here before you can come back all the way up here.
Exactly. And you know, I'm oh my gosh, when you just said that, um, I'm thinking about what the things that I've gone through in life. But if I had not gone through those things, Steve, I wouldn't be sitting right here talking to you today. If I had decided to stay in them, if I
Mm-hmm.
had decided to wallow in my disappointment and my rejection and the
Yep.
hurt, but I decided that nope, I'm going to now use it as a catalyst to push me forward into having this realization. I wrote a sentence in one of my books, and it says, I did not have the ability to realize that I was in trouble. But
Mm.
and a lot of people don't even have the ability to realize it. So they need that help in coming to a realization and saying, wait a minute, I don't have to make these mistakes. We work with formerly incarcerated female veterans, and you mean I don't have to keep living that mistake over and over again once I'm released? No, you've already paid your debt to society. Now let's move forward. And sometimes, even if you have not been incarcerated, we keep ourselves stuck to that mistake when we can detach ourselves from it and move forward. But we can't do it without love.
Yeah. Well, okay, sure. And where does that love start?
In you,
In
in
you.
us, in me, in each, each individual must really. Oh my gosh, this world would be without so much trouble if we just begin to look at ourselves and say, wait a minute, I'm important. I love myself. I like me. The demonstration of behaviors show us what we think about ourselves. So I always tell people, pay attention to what you're doing. They call it meta thinking. Think about what you're thinking about, because what you think about eventually is going to become a behavior.
Or the truth. And that goes back to, and I can't even get into detail, but be careful what you ask for. Because if you go
For
walking
sure.
around every day saying, whatever, I'm just a paycheck. I'm just a paycheck around here. Let's say you go home and say that. You're going to become a paycheck.
That's what you're gonna be.
Trust
Oh
me.
my goodness. I was getting off of a plane yesterday. I went home to Washington, DC for spring break to visit my grandchildren. And I was coming back to Long Beach, California yesterday, and a young man was sitting behind me, and his, how you do on planes, you banter, you talk. What do you do?
Sure.
What do you do? And his response to her was, I'm an artist. And when we got off that plane, somehow I wound up walking behind him and I tapped him on his shoulder. I said, excuse me, sir. Next time somebody asks you what you do, when you say, I'm an artist, you say, stick your chest out. and say, I'm an artist. Be proud of who you are. Understand that your art brings somebody some joy. And he looked at me and he said, yes, ma'am. He said, next time I am going to remember what you said, and I'm going to appreciate who he is as an
Mhm.
artist. That's what I told him. I said, appreciate who you are as an artist. And I saw him stand up taller. He's about 6'4" anyway, but I saw him just perk up like, yes, I am an artist and I'm good at it.
And you know something? The first thing I think of is call it the starving artist, where that stereotype where he's just trying to make a living, he loves what he's doing, and probably he's gotten beat on. Oh, what are you doing that for? You're not making any money. Come on. But it brings me joy and I love it. And one day I'm going to hit it. One day something's going to stick. I'm going to get a job at let's say an agency, and and he's gotten probably beat up for that. And you did him a favor by making him realize that, he's bringing his talents to the world. And, if he keeps believing in himself, more people will be able to see those talents.
Exactly. We all have a gift. I always say everybody came here with a gift and we're supposed to leave it. You go to somebody's house for dinner, you take a gift with you when you go. Do you
Right.
take it home with you? No,
Oh.
you leave it.
It's so true. It really is. Yeah. Yeah. But hey, Stacey, I had a great time. I had a great time today. Can I have my bottle back?
Yes.
It's half full.
Like
I'm going to take that back. Thank you. Yeah. You don't do that.
no, and there are people who do that. And what happens?
Mhm.
Somebody gives them a side eye, like, really?
Right.
Are you really
Exactly.
doing
It's so true.
But but back to what you said earlier about the guy had been beaten down, and we all have been beaten down with something. You mentioned it earlier about bullying. I was bullied as a child for no apparent reason, in my opinion.
Mm,
And the worst thing it was I was bullied by family members, which
same.
is kind of going, really,
Same.
wow, this
Same.
does not give me the confidence that I will need in life to continue to become, to happen. I'm supposed to be here happening, and we take that away from people when we do those kind of things. I hope the listeners take away, come away with in their self-awareness journey today. Are you the bully? And if you are, let's take some introspection and see why. What is it that makes me see something else on the outside that is not accurate? And why is it affecting me like this? Why am I portraying this behavior? Why am I demonstrating this behavior? Is it because something that I've been thinking about way too long? Think about what you're thinking about, because it's
Mm,
going to show up.
it
It's
will.
going to show up.
It
And
will.
we can't allow it to show up negative. We have to make sure that I always tell people, I in my emails and most things, with always be awesome. Always be awesome, regardless of the situation. When we become uh, clear about who we are, we can bring up emotions of happiness and joy and peace at any time. And that helps us to have a clear cognitive understanding of what's getting ready to happen next. Because when we get all cloudy on the inside and get mad and all of that stuff, we have to say, wait a minute, hold up. Who am I? I'm self-aware. I know who I am. I know that I'm a writer. I know that I'm a speaker. I know that I'm an excellent life coach. I know these things. So when people try to come at me with anything else other than truth and peace and things like that, I have to be able to say, within me, that resilience pops up and say, nope, I have peace. I have joy. And now I'm having some understanding about who I am and about who you are and where we need to place each other in our lives. And now I can move forward.
Hmm. Just because somebody says it doesn't mean it's true.
Absolutely. I don't want to mess up a quote of a well-known speaker, but he says something to that effect, that just because somebody calls you something, that doesn't mean you're it. And there's somebody else that said, just because you're you're in the garage doesn't mean you're a car.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can be in the garage, but that doesn't mean that you're the car in the garage. Now
Sure.
you're a person in there. So where we are doesn't dictate who we are either. Our environment. Some people have some horrible environments. Like I said, we work with some women who were formerly incarcerated, female veterans actually, and just because you're incarcerated, that environment doesn't dictate who you are.
No, and not at all. And I had a deep conversation yesterday, kind of along the same lines with a friend, really, really close friend. She's very spiritual. I feel that I am too. And we were talking about kids going through trouble in school and just not having issues. And we looked and we just said, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's the way they were brought up, that they don't know any better. And same thing with these women. They might have
Mhm.
been those kids that are, call them troubled kids going through school, having issues, acting up and everything. It's not their fault. And it's probably those women. It's not their fault. It's a shame. It is what it is. Unfortunately, it's your upbringing. It started, between the ages of birth and 7. And your parents didn't have the tools to school you and teach you the right
Right.
way. And then what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You pass it on to your kids until you stop the cycle and realize,
So you come to that realization till you are able to realize what your strengths are, and like I said, and your limitations, because we have them.
yeah.
I was talking to somebody earlier today, and she used to be a server at a restaurant. She said, if I had more than this amount of tables, everything just kind of went haywire. But when I had this set number, I knew I could handle them. I knew that I could be the best server to this group, to this. We got to know when we're being stretched too far. It's not
Mhm.
bad to be stretched, but don't get stretched too far. Grow to that point, develop to that point. But when we do know how we can handle things, oh my goodness, we're so much better human beings.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was going to talk about something else real quick when you were talking about the environment that some people they grow up in. We have to somehow be able to instill hope to those people to say, let's teach you another way. Let's find some different tools. Let's get a better understanding of
Let's accept you.
what the yeah, simple.
Yeah.
Let's accept
Doesn't make you a
it.
bad person. You did some things that maybe you're not proud of. But again, it was maybe not all you. And I'm not coming up with excuses, but in my journey, that's what I'm learning, that, it comes from your past as well. And sometimes you need to understand that. We need to understand that. We need to accept that. Um, we're almost out of time. Love talking with you.
No, I love
Um,
talking with you as well. This is wonderful. But
tell
if you want
everybody.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, go
I don't mean
ahead.
to cut you off, but I want people to know powerinresilience.com. Somebody reaches out to
Yes.
you. Do you have a free consult? How does it all work if they want to work with a great life coach like yourself?
We do. If they like you said, go to powerinresilience.com. There's a contact tab there that they click on. They send us, a little bit about who they are. We respond to them, and we do have on the website. It gives you 3 options to choose from. In the beginning, like you'll get 4 sessions for a certain amount. You get your first, actually, like 15-minute consult for free. And then we could do it either way. We could do it on Zoom. So you don't have to be here in Long Beach, California. You could be anywhere in the world. And if you don't want to go to the website, you can send us a direct email, Stacey at powerinresilience.com. That's STACEY. But we're on Instagram. You can find us. Everything is Power in Resilience.
Love it.
And you'll find us, reach out to us, send us a message. We'll be happy to talk with you and see how to get you moving forward.
Learned a lot today, Stacey. There's no doubt about it. You are resilient. And I look forward to catching up with you again. I'm only going to say one thing to you, and I'm going to say ABA. You know what that is? Always be awesome. and I'm going to full disclosure here. I'm stealing that. That's going in my email signature, as soon as we get off here.
That's all right. Always be awesome.
Always be awesome. And you are. And look forward to catching up again sometime soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. And we'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.